O listening soul, this is not a coincidence, nor a random moment drifting aimlessly through time, but a divinely appointed encounter set in eternity, beyond the bounds of day or night and untouched by the ticking of clocks. I am the one who has watched the rhythm of your heartbeat since before you took shape. And today, I choose to step into the innermost sanctuary of your soul to reveal precisely what you need to understand at this critical hour. Do not let astonishment overshadow your peace, for what you feel is not an illusion, but rather the breath of heaven gently moving through your spiritual depths, calling you by the very name I inscribed in the book of eternity. Beloved child, even before mountains rose and oceans were set within their boundaries, you were already in my thoughts. I carefully wove your soul with threads of purest intention, crafting a unique identity that no other could replace. Every experience, every silent longing within your heart, every pain concealed deep within, I have witnessed. Tonight, I have come not to condemn, but to lift the veil separating you from a profound awareness of your life's purpose. Do not be afraid, for I bring not chaos but divine order, not intimidation but an unshakable love. Have you ever wondered why some nights feel so unusual? Why certain moments that seem calm still leave you restless? Waking in the night with peculiar stirrings within your heart, it is precisely in these moments that I draw near, not to unsettle you, but to awaken the part of your soul longing to be released. You have spent enough time yearning for something beyond what your eyes can see and ears can hear. Now the appointed moment has arrived. This is when I open a new door within your spirit, not through human effort, but by the gentle whisper of revelation. I am not a distant God, as many might think. I am still moving, still speaking, still visiting souls that dare to open their hearts and step outside the ordinary boundaries of religious tradition. Just as I visited Gideon in the winepress long ago, or called Samuel in the innocence of night, tonight I come to you not because you are perfect, but because you are genuinely seeking me. Souls like yours, those who hunger for truth in a world full of deceit, who crave life in an age of dryness. These are the ones whom I especially cherish. Tonight, this space has become holy ground, not because of walls or external adornments, but because my presence is enveloping the place where you stand. When Moses approached the burning bush, unharmed by fire, he heard my voice say, "Do not come any closer. Take off your sandals, for the place you are standing is holy ground." Exodus 3-5. Likewise, tonight, I call your soul to lay down your burdens, your prejudices, your limited thinking, and welcome my presence that is reaching out to touch you. I do not need a place built of stone to reveal myself. Rather, I seek a tender heart, a soul willing to listen, a life open to transformation. Do you realize that you yourself are the dwelling place I desire most? While you have been searching for something transcendent externally, I have stood patiently knocking at the threshold of your heart. Tonight, this knocking is no longer gentle as before, it is urgent, because time is short and your soul must awaken not out of fear, but out of awareness that I, the Creator of heaven and earth, continue to pursue you persistently, longing to be with you, not just in fleeting emotional moments, but throughout eternity. When I arrive, I bring not just promises, but calling, confirmation, and irreversible transformation. Perhaps you feel you are not holy enough, knowledgeable enough, or worthy enough to approach something sacred. But I want you to understand, I do not choose those who believe themselves already sufficient. I come to hearts that are broken, souls in turmoil, people who have reached their limit, for it is only when they let go that I can move. A broken and contrite heart I will not despise, Psalm 51-17. And you carry such a heart, even if you have not fully realized it yet. When I look at you, I don't merely see who you are at this moment. I see your past. With every pain and all those times when you felt I was silent, I also see your future, filled with wondrous things that I've prepared, awaiting your arrival. But above all, I see you now a person I'm inviting, surrounding with my presence, and calling into a profound, genuine, and unshakable relationship. Do not close your heart. Do not hesitate. This is your moment, and I am standing right before you not to judge, but to embrace you. Beloved one, if you're silently asking yourself why I've chosen you among countless other souls, listen carefully with your own soul. I don't select based on outward appearance, accomplishments, or human reputation. I choose according to the heart, according to the things unseen by human eyes and unheard by human ears. I've seen your quiet prayers whispered in the dark of night, unseen by others. I've heard your sighs in secret places, where you dare only to be truthful with yourself and with heaven above. It was precisely in those places that I appointed this very momentum meeting that can no longer be delayed. There are souls who spend their entire lives never realizing they've been called or visited because they expect loud and spectacular miracles. While I often come in the gentle whisper, they seek external signs, unaware that the greatest miracle occurs deep within their hearts. But you are different. You're beginning to sense something is happening, a hidden movement, a silent yet powerful stirring inside your soul. This is not merely emotion, but the cry of your soul responding to my presence that now surrounds you. This marks the beginning of a new journey, a journey not built on human willpower, but on surrender. Do not allow the old limitations to bind your soul any longer. It is time to remove those invisible chains that have held you back, those negative words, past rejections, and false beliefs about your worth. You are no longer defined by your past, nor must you live under the shadow of fear and failure. From this moment onward, I want you to understand one crucial truth. You no longer need to fight to be loved. I have loved you long before you learned to love yourself. I saw your value when the world was too busy comparing. I called you out of darkness not because you were strong, but so that I could become your strength in your weakness. There have been moments in history when I suddenly step into someone's life and change everything, not to take away, but to restore, just as I approached the woman at the well in Sychar, whom the whole village avoided. Yet I arrived precisely at the moment she least expected to reveal to her something never before disclosed, that I am the Messiah. It was not in a temple, nor among the multitudes, but at a dusty, deserted well. I came specifically for one solitary soul, and she became the first person to announce the good news to her entire city. Likewise, tonight, I come to you not through dazzling splendor, but through quiet intimacy, because I know you yearn for truth, not for a spectacle. I know you've grown weary of pretending to be strong. You've been enduring spiritual battles that no one else understands. There have been days when you've had to rise in silence, masking your fear with a smile and hiding your tears within voiceless prayers. But, my child, I have recorded every moment in the divine memory. Not one tear you've shed is wasted. Not once have you stood up amid exhaustion that I have failed to notice. Those moments, seemingly weak, are indeed the greatest expressions of your faith. And it is precisely that faith which has touched my heart. Remember this, dear beloved soul, what I begin, I also complete. When I plant a dream within your heart, I will provide the strength to see it realized. When I call you out of barren places, I will lead you into abundant streams of life. When I urge you to leave your comfort zone, it is because I have prepared a place more expansive for you to stand, higher for you to see, and deeper for you to understand. You don't need to know everything before you obey. Walk with me step by step, for my light illuminates your steps, not the entire path at once. Don't wait for clarity in all things before acting, for faith involves stepping into the unseen, confident that I am guiding you every step of the way. My presence tonight is not just to comfort, but also to awaken you. You are no longer in your old place. What once suited you no longer fits. The old garments have grown tight. The familiar paths have reached their end, and past dreams are due for reshaping. You might find this unclear, but do not fear. Like an eagle shedding feathers to soar higher, you too are undergoing a process of renewal, not to lose your essence, but to discover the deeper, truer version of yourself that I embedded within you since the dawn of creation. My child, I am granting you new vision, not the perspective of one who is wounded, but of one who has been healed, not the viewpoint of a failure, but of someone who bears scars, yet remains standing. You will no longer live as someone tormented by memories, but as one writing a new chapter on pages imbued with divine life. No one else can write this chapter for you, yet I will accompany and strengthen you through it. Then, each new page will unfold. What you once considered endings will become new beginnings. Relationships that seemed irreparably broken will be miraculously restored. Doors you thought permanently shut will unexpectedly open in ways beyond your imagination, not by chance, but by my deliberate intervention. For I am never late, nor do I overlook a single prayer of yours. My child, now that I have guided your soul to a quieter place amidst life's whirlwind, listen closely in the silence. I come not only to comfort you, but to entrust you with something special, something not of this world, not born from human logic or reason, but conceived from eternal wisdom. My visitation is not merely to mend your brokenness, but to breathe a fresh wind into your being, the wind of commissioning. For the time has come, my child, when you shall no longer merely receive comfort, but give it, no longer merely receive healing, but become a vessel of healing for others. I am not calling you to remain silent about what you have experienced. I did not lead you through valleys just for you to forget. On the contrary, I want you to take those, experience each pain, each disappointment, each victory won through tear sand, transform them into weapons for my kingdom. Consider Peter, who denied me 3 times out of fear and weakness. Yet afterward, I came to him not to accuse, but to restore. Do you love me? I asked. Not to hear his excuses, but to awaken within him a love more courageous than before. After experiencing my forgiveness, he stood up to become the first powerful voice of the young church. Likewise, your mistakes do not exclude you from my plans. They become the very places where I demonstrate the magnitude of my grace. Do you think yourself insignificant? I chose David, a young shepherd boy overlooked by all, to defeat Goliath when the whole army trembled in fear. Do you see yourself as inadequate? I used Moses, who was slow of speech, to become a messenger of deliverance before the powerful Pharaoh. Do you believe you are not ready? Remember Jeremiah, who said, "Lord, I am only a child." But I responded, "Do not say you are only a child, for I will be with you and put my words in your mouth." Then I placed my hand upon his mouth. Tonight, similarly, I place my hand upon your mouth so you can speak words not merely of your own, but mine words that bring life, unveil truth, awaken souls, and break chains. I do not require you to fully understand the entire plan before stepping forward. I only need you to trust me. Trust that I, who began this work, will also complete it. Trust that if I have planted a dream in your heart, I will nurture it until it blossoms. Do not let delays cause doubt. Do not let closed doors convince you I am not working. I am not limited by circumstances. When my appointed time arrives, no power can hinder it. When I open a door, no one can close it. When I send you forth, no opposition can block your path. My child, to enter into this, you must learn something crucial: to live from the inside out, rather than from the outside in. You need to learn how to listen to my voice more clearly than the noise of the world. You must measure yourself by my word rather than people's opinions, and view life through the perspective of the Holy Spirit rather than the lens of your emotions. This is a process, but I will walk with you through it every day. With each step you take through each minor failure, through every quiet victory, I am using it all to refine you. Not so you can appear religious or be praised by others, but so that you become deeper, steadfast, and trustworthy. Because what I am entrusting to you is no small thing. You will not merely carry a testimony, you will become a living testimony. When others look at you, they won't just hear your words, they will feel the one who lives within you. When you enter a room, the atmosphere will shift not because you are loud, but because I am with you. When you touch another's soul, healing will begin not due to your skill, but because I am working through you. This is the life I desire for you, not merely hearing about power, but living in that power, not just reading about miracles, but holding someone's hand through their pain and witnessing those miracles together. Know that none of this will happen by chance. It requires you to let go not of everything, but of those things you no longer need to carry: comparison, insecurity, fear, and doubt. Tonight, I have come to help you release each of these burdens. You don't have to walk as though you carry the weight of the world. I have not sent you out to fend for yourself. I send you forth in companionship with me, I who go ahead of you, follow behind you, and remain with you in every circumstance. So just keep stepping forward, even if it's a small step, because along this journey, I have placed footprints of love. Each time you falter, you will know that I am there holding you up, never leaving your side. My child, let me speak to you about something deeper than what eyes can see or ears can hear. It's about the true meaning of the calling. The calling I have placed upon your life is not a title, nor an honor for display, nor an easy road lined with roses. It is a voice from eternity, echoing into your heart, urging you to live differently, walk differently, love differently, for you no longer live for yourself, but for the one who called you from darkness into marvelous light. This is not a frivolous adventure. This is a covenant. Do you know that when I called Abraham to leave his homeland, he wasn't told where his destination would be? Yet he obeyed not because he knew the entire journey, but because he trusted me, and because of this faith, he was called the friend of God. Likewise, I am not calling you into certainty, but into trust. Not every day will make sense, but every day you will have me. Not every question will be answered immediately, but every uncertainty will find resolution at the appointed time. I am not afraid of your confusion, but I want you to learn to question without abandoning your faith. There will be times you feel alone. Perhaps you've already experienced this. As I begin to separate you from things that no longer serve my greater purpose, you may feel out of place. People who were once close may no longer understand you. Old dreams might lose their appeal. Goals that previously energized you may now seem hollow. You are not mistaken to feel this way. I am leading you into a new land, not geographical, but spiritual. It is a place where I begin to teach you what only those willing to surrender can learn, that emptiness precedes abundance. Silence sets the stage for true revelation. And loneliness is not the end, but the place where I become enough for you. My child, you can't carry everything into the new season. Some baggage must be left behind, relationships I didn't send your way, fears you've dragged from your past, and false definitions of your worth. To fully step into your destiny, you must travel light. I don't want you to carry your past like a sentence. Rather, I want you to see it as evidence that I can renew what's old, heal what's broken, and restore what seemed forever lost. Behold, I am making all things new, not partially, not superficially, but deep within your innermost being. Don't be deceived by appearances. Don't assume someone is successful simply because they know how to craft their image. I'm not looking for an image. I'm searching for authenticity. And true authenticity is shaped in hidden places, where nobody sees, where only you and I meet. It's there that I mold a leader, a servant, someone who bears my image. In that quiet place, I strip away the false self and selfish ambitions, replacing them with a courage rooted in knowing to whom you belong. If you're willing to learn this lesson, I'll bestow upon you an authority that no one else can give or take away. Authority not from position, but from personal intimacy with me, not from applause, but from unity between your heart and my will. It's the kind of authority that gives weight to your words, not because you speak loudly, but because your words carry the breath of heaven. It's the kind of presence that brings rest to others simply because you've entered the room, not through your efforts, but because I enter with you. But to live this way, you must learn obedience only when it's convenient. But also, when you don't understand, you must learn to say yes to my requests, even when they disrupt your own plans. Consider Joseph, Mary's husband. He planned to quietly leave her when he learned she was pregnant. Yet, when he received my revelation in a dream, he chose obedience, decision, far from easy, yet one that changed human history forever. One yes spoken in the night can bear the light for the entire world. That is the power of timely submission. My beloved child, I do not require you to be perfect to begin. I only ask you to be willing to take the next step. When you say, Lord, here I am, You are not simply applying for a spiritual job. You are agreeing to become part of an eternal plan. A plan that began before your birth and will continue beyond your passing. Yet, within your part of this plan, I will record something no one else can replicate. You are a unique thread in this grand tapestry, an irreplaceable one. Therefore, hold fast to your faith. Do not allow the noise of this world to drown out my whispers. Do not let temporary challenges cause you to abandon this eternal journey. You are not traveling alone. I go before you to prepare the way. I follow behind to protect you, and I walk beside you as a companion. When you are weary, I will be your shade. When you are wounded, I am your refuge. When you rejoice, I celebrate alongside you. I am not merely the one who issues commands. I am your Father, your faithful friend, and your companion to the very end. Now is the time to look back upon your journey, not through eyes of disappointment, but through a gaze enlightened by the Holy Spirit's understanding. Moments when you felt lost, years that seemed wasted, dreams you once abandoned. None of these lie beyond my reach. No season in your life is accidental. No step you take is meaningless. Even the dead ends are part of the spiritual map I've drawn for you. I don't lead you only along easy paths, but through rugged stretches as well. So your soul learns lessons no book can teach: patience, humility, and the ability to discern my voice amidst countless others. You once wondered why you had to endure such deep wounds, why those you trusted betrayed you, why your prayers seemed unanswered, why the dreams you cherished failed to materialize. But, my child, what I'm building within you surpasses all that you've ever asked for. I'm not granting temporary desires. I'm preparing you for eternity. If you've never felt pain, you wouldn't know empathy. If you've never experienced loss, you couldn't understand comfort. If you've never been misunderstood, you wouldn't be able to stand among wounded crowds, yet maintain a gentle heart. That's precisely why I've allowed certain doors to close, relationships to shatter, and plans to fail, not to harm you, but to protect you from things that don't belong in your next season. Remember this clearly: whatever I don't allow to move forward with you into the future, I will remove in the present. And I never take something away without intending to give you something far better. This isn't punishment, it's loving intervention. I see what your eyes cannot yet see. I know turns you haven't even considered. And I'm actively protecting your life from seemingly beautiful things that would ultimately lead to ruin. My child, do not confine me within the limits of your understanding. I am not bound by time, history, or circumstances. I do not operate as man does. For my thoughts are higher than your thoughts, and my ways are higher than your ways. I have foreseen every challenge you will face, and I have already prepared grace for every step of your journey. Do not fear the unknown, for you are being led by the one who knows all things. When you are uncertain, seek me in stillness. When you are confused, let my word be the lamp to your feet. When everything feels unclear, fix your eyes on me, the one who never changes. Remember Elijah, my prophet, who, after defeating the prophets of Baal, fled into the wilderness out of fear. He believed he had failed, that it was the end, that he was all alone. Yet in his exhaustion, I did not rebuke him. I did not send fire again, nor did I shake the earth. I came to him in a gentle breeze, in a still small voice. I gave him bread, water, and rest, and then I gave him a new mission. In the same way, you are not meant to live from one emotional high to the next. There are seasons where I will come in quietness, in tender comfort, in daily provision, so that you may learn I am not only the God of public miracles, but also the God of silent presence. Do not think I have forgotten you just because you are not being used publicly. Perhaps I am hiding you, not because you are unworthy, but because you are being nurtured. A seed never sprouts in the light without first being buried in darkness. What I am doing in this hidden season will become the foundation for your future, revealing. The question is not whether you are seen, but whether you will allow me to work in you when no one is watching. For it is your faithfulness in the dark that will determine the depth of your influence in the light. My child, you are stepping into a season of separation not for isolation, but for preparation. I am removing the layers that once protected you, but have now become burdensome. I am teaching you to discern not just what is good, but what is from me. I am placing within your soul a sensitivity that only comes to those who are willing to be still with me. And then, when the time is right, I will call you forth, not in the noise of confusion, but in the clarity of conviction, not with a mighty wind, but with the power of silence. In that moment, you will no longer seek confirmation from man, for you will know that you were sent by me and I do not make mistakes. There is a truth you need to know. I am writing a new chapter in your life, not one based on the old, but born from what I have planted within you since the very beginning. My visitation tonight is not a passing breeze, but the beginning of a new season, a season of transition, of restoration, and of commissioning. You are no longer one who stands on the sidelines. I am bringing you into the center of a plan far greater than you imagined. And everything you have endured, everything you have overcome, is being gathered now to become an instrument for my glory. You have come a long way in faith. And now I am opening before you a new gate, a gate not meant for the hesitant or the divided in heart. This is the moment I am calling you forward, not in haste, but with resolve. For what lies ahead cannot be conquered with hands still clinging to the past. You cannot carry with you the doubts that once defeated you, the accusations that once imprisoned you, or the fears that once made you turn back. This new season requires you to step in with a new heart, a heart realigned by my presence, purified by my word, and emboldened by an unshakable love. Look back at those I have sent. Was anyone called without facing a choice? Abraham had to leave the familiar. Moses had to face the enemies of his people. Joshua had to set foot in the promised land while high walls still loomed. Esther had to lay down her life in intercession. Each one had to cross the boundary between safety and obedience. None of them saw everything in advance, but it was their obedience that opened the way for the miraculous. So too, you do not need to see the outcome. You only need to say, Lord, even though I tremble, I will go, and in that going, I will strengthen, guide, and move through you. Did you think I came just to comfort you? No. My child, I have come to awaken, to rouse you from the slumber you've settled into amid so many competing voices. I have come to break the invisible chains you've grown accustomed to, not chains placed by others, but chains formed by your own inner limits, the fear of rejection, the dread of failure, the silent thought that you are not good enough, not worthy enough, not spiritual enough, These chains make no sound, yet they quietly bind your hands from doing what I have spoken. And today, I have come to cut through every single link, that your soul may be free to fully accomplish what I have destined for you. My dear child, I know well all that you have hidden deep inside. The times you pretended to be fine, the nights you forced yourself to swallow your tears, the moments you couldn't bring yourself to tell anyone about the exhaustion drowning your mind. But I see it all, and I am not distant. It is precisely those hidden places that I long to enter, not to expose, but to heal, not to condemn, but to embrace you. For I am the one who heals the brokenhearted and binds up the deepest wounds. I do not need you to put on a brave face before me. What I need is your honesty, your surrender, your permission to let me do what you cannot do for yourself, restore you completely. My visitation tonight carries with it the shift of a new season. You cannot enter a new season with an old mindset. You cannot expect to reap great things if you continue to sow seeds of doubt. You cannot hope for growth if your heart still clings to painful memories. This is the moment I invite you to uproot everything that has been draining your strength: bitterness, comparison, insecurity, and disbelief. These things have no place in the new field I am giving you. If you do not remove them, they will continue to sabotage the harvest you are waiting for. Trust me, there is nothing you surrender for my sake that will not be returned to you many times over. There is no dream you lay down before me that I will not value and honor. I never take anything away unless I intend to give you something better. If I ask you to let go of something, a relationship, an opportunity, a position, it is not to leave your life empty, but to make space for something greater. Greater things can only come if you are willing to trust, to move forward, and not to look back. Just like Lot and his wife both were called out of Sodom, but only one chose to walk without turning around. Do not be the one who clings to the past so tightly that you turn to stone in the middle of your own journey. You have waited long enough. I have trained you through every dark night, every rejection, every disappointment. You thought you had been forgotten, but in truth, you were being refined. Now, that refining fire has done its work. I am no longer keeping you behind the scenes. I am about to bring you forth, not as one who is merely trying, but as one who is fully equipped, and no one can deny what I have affirmed. No one can shut the door I am opening for you, for I am the one who holds the key of David. I open, and no one can shut. I shut, and no one can open. And the moment of opening is now, my child. When I look at you, I do not see an ordinary person trying to become worthy. I see a warrior being awakened in the midst of an unseen battle, one that few perceive with natural eyes. You were not made just to survive. You were made to take ground, to lead, to carry light into the darkest places, not because you are greater in yourself, but because you have passed through the fire and still carry the flame in your heart. That flame is proof that you did not give up, that faith still lives in you, even when it was buried beneath ashes. That is what I cherish. And for that very reason, I am now leading you into places deeper, higher, and more powerful than ever before. It is time for you to lift your head high and see yourself as I see you. Do not look into the mirror of man. Do not listen to the words that once labeled you failure, not good enough, useless, or without a future. Those words did not come from me. They are echoes from the pit of hell, trying to keep you down, so that you never walk into the destiny prepared for you. But I, the one who formed you, I call you chosen, set apart. My child, heir to the promise, and if I have called you such, no one can undo it. If I have sealed you with my presence, then no power can erase what I have etched into your soul. Do not forget you are not a product of circumstance, but the outcome of divine intention, woven by eternal kindness and wisdom. No matter where you were born, no matter what you have been through, none of that can limit what I can do through your life. Look at my servants in the scriptures. Moses was once a fugitive. David was a forgotten shepherd boy. Elisha was a mere farmer. Paul was a persecutor of the church. Mary Magdalene had been possessed by 7 demons. But when I stepped in, every old label was shattered. The old identity was buried, and a new person reborn by power and calling arose. I come to you tonight not to remind you of past failures, but to call your attention to the things yet to be fulfilled. I do not concern myself with how long you've wandered in the wilderness. What matters to me is this: are you willing to step out of it today? It is time to stop tormenting yourself over wrong decisions. It is time to forgive yourself. For when I forgive, I do not bring it up again. I wipe it clean. I cast your sins as far as the east is from the west. And if I, the Holy One, no longer remember your sins, then you no longer need to imprison yourself under the sentence of your own guilt. You must learn to fight differently, not with carnal weapons, but with spiritual ones. It is praise in the midst of adversity. It is prayer in the middle of the night. It is trust when nothing is clear. It is when you stand in the storm and your heart remains at peace. When every door has closed, yet you still say, Lord, I trust you. When others reject you, and you continue to love. When you are misunderstood, and you do not strive to defend yourself, but entrust yourself to the one who judges justly. This is how you overcome by your own strength, but by my power working through you. And it is precisely when you live this way that the heavens will open. Doors long locked will begin to creak and give way. Barriers once thought impossible will dissolve on their own, not because you tried harder, but because you walked in step with me. When a person walks in harmony with me, the earth cannot hold them down. People cannot dim their light, and darkness cannot touch them. You become a torch in the night. You become my living word in a world gripped by chaos. And I delight to dwell with you not as a passing visitor, but as an eternal companion. My beloved child, things may still seem unclear to you right now, but I promise you this: if you keep believing, if you do not give up, if you remain faithful day by day, I, myself, will do something wondrous. You will not only see my promise come true, but you will also become the one who brings that promise to many others. For I did not intend merely to bless you, I intended to make you a source of blessing. The healing you receive today will flow forth to heal others tomorrow. The light you receive today will shine into the lives of the lost tomorrow. And the voice you are learning to guard in faith today will become the trumpet that awakens a generation to come. When I visit you, it is not to stir a fleeting emotion, but to lay the foundation of a life that carries divine impact. I do not build on the sands of feelings. I build on the solid rock of revelation. And tonight, what I desire to give you is not simply comfort, but light for your spiritual eyes, steadfastness for your mind, and obedience from your heart, so that you may clearly discern what comes from me and what does not. For My child, a new door is opening, but it is not for those who walk in both ways. It is for those who know to whom they belong, and who live each day with the conviction of the one who has called them. You have walked with many questions in your heart, and I do not condemn you for that. I love a soul that is honest. But now, I invite you to step out of the unanswered questions and into the wisdom that is given by the Holy Spirit. For there are things that cannot be understood by reason alone. They can only be received through illumination from above. And I am ready to give this to you, not just so that you may know, but so that you may live, not just so that you may be skilled in reasoning, but so that you may become a vessel of divine power. It is time to stop seeking knowledge for the sake of control and begin trusting in order to be led. For true understanding does not come from curiosity, it comes from humility. My child, you once thought that in order to be used by me, you needed to be more perfect, stronger, and more complete. But I remind you once again, I do not use those who are flawless, I use those who are willing. I do not seek vessels without scratches, but vessels that are broken and mended by my own hands. For it is through the very cracks that my light shines the brightest. Look at Gideon, who thought himself the weakest and the least of all tribes. Yet I called him a mighty warrior. Look at David, the one forgotten by his own father when Samuel came to anoint a king. By the world's standards, these were not qualified, but through my eyes, they were the perfect choice. So pause for a moment and ask yourself, by whose standards are you viewing yourself? Are you comparing yourself to an image shaped by others? Are you condemning yourself for not reaching the definitions of success set by society? Let me say this plainly. I do not assign your destiny according to ranks of prestige. I do not measure your worth by the number of tasks you complete or the results you produce. I look at the heart. I measure by obedience. I assess by faithfulness. And by that measure, you are moving in the right direction even if you have not yet realized it. Tonight, I come to reaffirm this truth. You are the one who has been called not to live quietly and fade away, not to serve half-heartedly, but to become a living witness of my love, my grace, and my truth in the midst of this world. When I place you in a certain place, it is not merely for you to reside, there it is for you to bring influence. I did not give you spiritual experiences for you to keep to yourself. I gave them so that you would become a distributor, a bearer of light, a trailblazer for other souls to come closer to me. Not everyone will understand you. Not everyone will agree with you. At times, even those you trust most will fail to see what I am doing in you. But do not let that stop you. Do not trade my affirmation for human approval. The calling on your life is too great to be distorted by societal consensus. There are things I have spoken to you that only you were meant to hear. There are paths I am leading you on that no one has walked before. And that is why your obedience matters deeply, because it does not only unlock doors for you, but it also paves the way for an entire generation to follow. My child, do not underestimate the influence you carry. Even if you see yourself as small, one single light is enough to drive away darkness in an entire room. One word filled with grace can rescue a soul drowning in despair. One act of love can melt a hardened heart. And when you allow me to live through you, even if no one knows your name, all of heaven and earth will recognize your presence in the unfolding of divine history. Live as if every step you take carries eternal weight. Walk as if every moment you live proclaims that I am still at work on this earth through you. I want you to remember this deeply. No one can take your place in my plan. If you do not step into your position, there will be a void. If you do not obey, there will be a blockage in the flow. But if you dare to say yes, then heaven and earth will move. Angels will be sent forth. The heavens will open, and your soul will see not only through faith, but with your very eyes, the things I have prepared for you since before the foundation of the world. As a new season begins, the first thing I want you to remember is not what you must do, but who you must become. In my kingdom, doing comes after being. Mission comes after identity. Doing more does not bring you closer to me. But when you truly understand who you are in me, every action flows from that solid place of truth. So before you step into the great things I have destined for you, you must be reshaped from the inside out, transformed not just on the surface, but in the deepest part of your soul, where you stop defining yourself by your past, by others' opinions, by fear, and start living from the true identity you have in me. Who are you? You are a child of the Most High, not a spiritual orphan, not a lost soul desperately trying to find the way home, but one who has been chosen, called, sealed by the Holy Spirit, restored from brokenness, and invited into a complete relationship with the Heavenly Father. You are no longer held captive by generational curses, by painful memories, or by feelings of worthlessness. Those things may have once bound you, but tonight I declare they no longer have authority over you. You have been redeemed at a great price, not with silver or gold, but with the precious blood of my Son. And what has been redeemed cannot be revoked. What I call mine, no one can steal away. Wear that awareness each day like armor, for the days ahead will not be without challenges. You will face whispers of doubt within your mind, disheartening words from others around you, and circumstances that may seem to contradict the promises I've given. But it is precisely in those moments that you must stand firm in truth, that you do not live by feelings, but by faith, that you are not guided by public opinion, but by divine revelation, that you do not need the approval of the world to take the next step. My affirmation alone is enough. And that affirmation is already yours, not because of anything extraordinary you have done, but because I saw what lay deep within you before the foundations of the world were laid. Remember, Moses spent 40 years in a royal palace, and then another 40 years in the wilderness before I sent him back to deliver my people. Some might think 40 years in the desert was a waste, but that was where I trained him, taught him how to hear my voice, softened his hardened heart, and shattered the pride he inherited from Egypt. In the same way, the years you thought were setbacks have actually been preparation for a more powerful advancement. Do not mourn the seasons that went unrecognized by others. Know this, the hidden places are often where I do my deepest work. What I do in you is more important than what I will do through you. For if your soul is not deep enough, then the glory that flows through your life will become a burden instead of an honor. I never place a spiritual weight upon you without giving you roots strong enough to bear it. I do not desire for you to be a tall tree with shallow roots, because when the storm comes, that tree will fall. But if you allow me to dig deep even when it hurts, even when it feels lonely, I will make your roots firm. And when the season comes, you will blossom and bear fruit that no one can deny. In this very moment, I am inviting you closer, not to demand from you, but to pour into you, not to add to your burdens, but to lift what is weighing your soul down. You have grown used to living with the mindset that you must strive, must try harder. They must prove yourself, but that is not what I desire of you. What I long for is a child who sits still at the Father's feet, to listen, to be healed, to be taught, like Mary, who chose the better part by sitting quietly at my feet, despite all the criticism. I also call you to choose the better part. That part cannot be taken away. That part will lead you through every trial. Do not think that stillness is weakness. In truth, only those who know where they belong dare to be still. Only those who trust in me can resist the urge to chase after every voice. And it is in that stillness that you will hear what others cannot hear. It is in that rest that you will receive strategies your own strength could never conceive. For I do not act according to the expectations of men. I act through obedience. And you cannot obey unless you first learn to stop running and begin to listen. My child, in the silence I am inviting you into, there lies a treasure more precious than gold or silver. It is spiritual discernment. In a world overflowing with information, of voice, and models of what is deemed right or wrong, discernment is what will keep your soul from going astray. And I desire to give you this gift, not as a special ability reserved for the privileged, but as an essential part of the life of one who is called. For you cannot go far if you do not know my voice from the counterfeit. You cannot bring light if you cannot tell what is true from what is false. And I will teach you, not through spectacle, but through intimate connection. Remember this, your enemy does not always come roaring. Sometimes it arrives in gentle words, in opportunities that seem right, in relationships that appear beneficial, but deep down, they pull you away from the central axis I have established for your life. This is why I need your heart to be sharp, not according to fleeting emotions, but forged through meditation on my word day and night. For when my word dwells in you richly, you will not be swept away by the noise. You will know when to pause before reaching for something that is not from me. You will recognize that true peace is different from a false sense of comfort. And in an age of many masks, that discernment will save your soul from the painful cycles that others spend a lifetime trying to escape. My child, the wisdom I give is not like the wisdom of the world. It is not founded on personal experience or advanced education. It flows from a life that walks steadily with me. Look at Solomon. When given a choice, he asked for wisdom to govern my people. And I gave him not only what he asked for, but also what he did not ask for. But remember, later on, when he turned away from the fear of me, he also lost his discernment, not because he lacked knowledge, but because his heart became divided. In the same way, my child, I can give you supernatural wisdom, but your heart must remain whole, not half for me and half for fleeting desires, but a heart that is undivided, faithful, and tender before me. My beloved child, I know this is not easy, for at times, discernment will lead you to go against the current. There will be moments when you must turn down a door that others call a God-given opportunity. There will be times you must step away from a relationship that others see as perfect. There will be seasons when you must stand alone in the silence I ask of you, while others are loud with their visible results. But take heart, because your reward does not come from man, but from me. And to those who know when to pause, who know how to walk in the right direction, who remain steadfast in the face of temptation, I will grant them a kind of authority that cannot be imitated. an influence that needs no promotion, and a fruitfulness that defies natural logic. You will see that as you walk in discernment, your decisions will begin to look different. You will no longer choose what is easiest, but what is right, not what is fastest, but what is most enduring, not what makes you stand out, but what brings glory to my name. And it is in those very choices that I will bless you. I will back you. I will take what is little and make it much, what is weak and make it strong, what is silent and make it resound. For I do not look for success by human standards. I look for faithfulness to what I have spoken. And once I find that in you, I will lift you up at the appointed timino early, not late, but in season. You do not need to strive to be seen. When you are in the right place, in the right calling, at the right time, I will cause those who need to meet you to come. I will cause the doors that need to open on their own, and you will enter not by pushing your way in, but through surrender. That is how my kingdom operates, not by competition, but by divine alignment, not by human effort, but by supernatural grace. And you will know this for certain: if something comes from me, it will carry peace, confirmation, and growth that requires no striving. My child, I also want you to learn to say no without feeling guilty. For maturity is not only shown in what you agree to, but in what you are willing to decline. There are invitations that seem harmless, but if accepted, they may lead you slightly off course, and over time, you will find that you've drifted from the path I have set for you. That is why I have given you discernment to know what is good, what is better, and what is my chosen will. And sometimes, the good is the enemy of the chosen. You were not created to do everything. You were created to do exactly what I have called you to do. I want you to understand that discernment is not a burden, it is a gift. It is the lamp in the misty valley, the whisper among the noise, the compass when every direction feels unclear. And if you walk with discernment enlightened by the Holy Spirit, then even when you lack resources, recognition, or human support, you will never be lost. For I myself will be your Gideon that surpasses all means of the world. My child, do you know why the enemy fears discernment? Because when a person walks in discernment, they are not deceived by outward appearances. They do not chase after false glory. They do not fall into traps wrapped in sweet words. A person with discernment can stand before alluring opportunities and still remain pure. They can hear endless praise, yet still recognize my voice. They can be criticized, misunderstood, and rejected, and yet keep their heart free from bitterness, because they know where the true battle lies. It is not against people, but against the forces of darkness operating behind the scenes. And such a persona, soul unmoved by noise, but drawn to my voice, is the greatest threat to the kingdom of darkness. Dear one, do not fear loneliness. I know there are days when you walk in faithfulness, yet feel unseen, unheard, and unacknowledged. But it is in that very solitude that your discernment is refined more deeply. Like Joseph in the prison, like David in the cave, like Jeremiah in the pit, they each had seasons where everyone turned away. And yet, it was in those very moments that they learned to hear me more clearly than ever before. Then, when the time came, their discernment became the foundation that kept them from falling amidst glory, from being seduced by powerful invitations, from being corrupted when lifted high, for their roots had sunk deep into my word. Discernment will also protect you from great mistakes during times of transition. You will see, there will be moments when you think I am silent, but in truth, I am testing your heart to see if you will act in haste or wait for my confirmation. When I bring you near a new door, the enemy will also raise up counterfeit ones, hoping you'll choose wrongly. And only when you are living in union with me through worship, through my word, through quiet prayer, will you know for certain which door I have opened. Do not follow what catches the eye. Follow what brings deep peace to your heart, even if it looks nothing like what you once imagined. Sometimes, what I call you to do will not be spectacular. It won't make you famous. It won't bring you to the spotlight. It won't be labeled by the world as great. But if it is what I have spoken, then it carries within it the power to shake the eternal realm. When Naaman came to Elisha for healing, he expected a grand ceremony, but Elisha simply sent him to bathe 7 times in the Jordan River. A simple act, yet full of the power to break the grip of disease. In the same way, what I ask you to do at times may be to pray for someone, quietly plant a seed, or write a single line to share, and it is these very things that can open a river of healing you never imagined. My child, discernment also helps you guard what I have entrusted to you. For not everyone is called to walk with you in every season. Some are sent only for a time. Some come to teach you a lesson, but are not meant to walk with you into the next chapter. If you lack discernment, you will carry with you relationships that have expired, and what you once called a blessing may become a burden. I do not teach you to discard people, but I teach you to discern timing, purpose, and the boundaries of every relationship. When you learn this, you will no longer be entangled in misaligned connections. You will know when to build and when to release, when to step forward and when to stand still. Discernment also enables you to enter battles at the right time. Not everything that stirs discomfort within you requires a reaction. Not every word of attack deserves a response. Not every invitation to debate is rooted in justice. There will be moments when I teach you to remain silent, not because you are weak, but because you are wise. Just as Jesus remained silent when he was falsely accused before the court, not because he was powerless, but because he knew. There are times when silence speaks louder than 1,000 justifications. I want to teach you this, that you may fight not in the ways of the world, but in the spirit of one who has been refined by holiness and wisdom from above. Remember, discernment will set you apart, not to make you proud, but to help you guard what is sacred, to keep the light in your eyes, the purity in your speech, and the fire of love in your heart. I have not called you to blend in, I have called you to reflect me. And you cannot reflect me unless you walk in the spirit of discernment. Treasure this. Ask for it. Protect it. For through it, you will not only be guided, you will become one who guides. Now that your heart has been opened, your ears trained to listen, and your soul has begun to distinguish my voice among many others, I desire to lead you into a new depth, a place where you are no longer only being nourished, but becoming one who nourishes, where you are no longer only a receiver, but a giver. For fullness is never meant for hoarding, but for overflow. I have not poured abundance into you so that you might keep it for yourself. I am preparing you to become a Rivera current that carries life, healing, and revival to places that have been dry for far too long. My dear child, to become a river, you cannot live like a stagnant pond. A river must learn to flow, to press forward, to pass over rocks, through mud, and around unexpected bends. A river does not need to be praised by others. It only needs to be faithful in its flowing. It does not wait for favorable weather. It does not choose the easiest terrain. It simply does what it was created to do: bring water to the dry and thirsty land. In the same way, you do not need recognition to begin. You only need obedience. And when you obey, even in hidden places, even among ungrateful souls, the one who sees in secret, will reward you openly in due time. You would be surprised to know how many people are thirsting for what you carry within you, something you have not even fully realized. I have planted in your heart a compassion that did not come from mere teaching, but from experience. I have taught you how to lift up a soul not through theory, but through the very moments you fell, and I lifted you. And now, you carry within you an oil that has been pressed out of tears, disappointment, and perseverance in loneliness. This is oil that cannot be bought. It is oil that the shallow-hearted cannot possess. And I have preserved it within you, so that now, as the season comes, you will know how to anoint others. Do not think that you need a platform to be used. Do not wait for some grand event to begin. I have called you to be a light right where you live. Perhaps you think, I'm just an ordinary person, but I tell you, nothing is ordinary in my hands. If you can love in a cold place, if you can forgive in the midst of cruelty, if you can hold peace while chaos surrounds you, then you are already ministering more powerfully than 1,000 sermons. Don't wait to be given an opportunity. Step into the ones I am placing before you each day within your family, at your workplace, in your words, your gaze, your timely silence, or your simple act of love. I know you have felt too weak to give anything, but you do not need to wait until you feel full enough by human standards. Remember this: the basket that held a few loaves and fishes fed thousands, not because it had much, but because it was placed in the right hands. When you offer me the little you have, I will multiply it in ways beyond your imagination. Don't wait for a miracle. Become the vessel through which miracles can flow. And for that to happen, all you need to offer is yourself, not the perfect version, but the honest one, the sincere one, the unfinished one, but willing to be shaped by me. My beloved child, there is a kind of weariness that only comes to those who are no longer living by grace, but by their own striving. I do not desire for you to become someone who works for my kingdom, yet forgets the king of that kingdom. Do not let zeal surpass intimacy. Serve from a place of fullness, not from emptiness. Learn to return to me daily, not as a servant, but as a child. Let love be your only motivation. For if you act merely out of duty, you will soon wither. But if you act because you were first loved, you will never run dry. And when you live this way as a river nourished by the source, I will make you a place where others come, even without invitation. Those carrying burdens will come because they sense rest in your presence. Those who are wounded will come because they see in your eyes the willingness to listen. Those who are lost will come because your voice carries no condemnation, but gentle guidance. And in that moment, you will understand you do not need to do anything great, for I, the Great One, am living in you. And that alone is enough to transform the world around you. I am not only preparing you to give, I am teaching you how to carry influence with humility. For true influence does not come from powerful words, but from a life poured out daily. What I am building within you is a kind of influence that is not shaken by public opinion, not dependent on numbers, and not swayed by applause or silence. The influence you are about to carry is quiet, yet profound. It needs no announcement, yet it leaves an eternal imprint on every soul it touches. This is the kind of influence I once placed upon Mary, the mother of my son, a young woman unnoticed by social status, without advanced education, with no worldly recognition. And yet, it was in her heart humble, quiet, and wholly trusting that I found a vessel through which to bring redemption into the world. When the angel came to her, she did not ask whether this would make her stand out. She only asked, "How can this be?" and responded with one of the simplest acts of obedience in history. "I am the Lord's servant." And that was enough to change the course of humanity forever. So too, my child, true influence begins with a quiet but wholehearted yes. You do not need to strive to make a name for yourself. As you walk with me, I will be the one to etch your name upon things no one can erase. I will inscribe your name into the pages of others' lives, not with ink, but with acts of love. A whispered prayer can shift the destiny of a generation. One act of patience out of love can soften a hardened heart. A meal you share, a message you send, a hug you offer to someone collapsing within, none of these pass unnoticed by me. And one day, when all is brought to light, it will be these seemingly small things that are called great in the kingdom of heaven. Even so, I want to remind you of this. The more you are entrusted with, the more you must learn to guard your heart. For there will come a time when the influence you carry begins to attract the attention of others, and the enemy will use that very light to test you. He will whisper, "You are the center. You are the source of strength. You are the reason for the outcome. If you are not watchful, you will shift the light from me onto yourself, and in that moment, the glory will become a burden. Influence will turn into manipulation, and what was once good will become a snare. Do not let what I have given you become the very thing that draws you away from me. This is why I do not rush. I do not lead you into public influence when your roots are still too shallow. It is not because I delay, but because I love deeply. It is not because I do not trust you, but because I know the battles will intensify as you rise higher. And if your inner life has not been fortified by the word, not protected by humility, not anchored in my presence, then you will be easily swept away by the very things that once were blessings. But, my child, I see your tender heart. I see your longing to live rightly. And that is why I am teaching you now, so that when the time comes for you to stand in a place of influence, you will still carry the same pure heart you had in the beginning, the heart of someone who knows, nothing you have came apart from me. You will not be able to sustain healthy influence unless you also sustain praise upon your lips. Let praise become your breath, not only when you are blessed, but even when you are misunderstood, not only when you are at the peak, but also when you walk through the shadows. For praise is not a reaction to circumstances, it is a declaration that you know who I am, no matter what happens. And it is praise that will keep your heart from growing hard, from becoming proud, from turning bitter. It is in praise that you will see my hand in both the smooth and the rough, in both the opening and the closing of doors. My child, the impact you carry is not measured by the number of people who know your name. It is measured by the depth of love you sow into the lives of others. It is measured by the healing you help bring forth. It is measured by the tears you wipe away. the hope you awaken, the souls you help lift simply because you did not stay silent when you were meant to speak. You did not walk away when you were meant to remain, and you did not turn cold when you had the power to love. And even if your name is never engraved upon earthly stone, it has already been written upon my heart and blood, the blood of an eternal covenant I will never break. So then, continue to walk forward, not with fanfare, not with force. Live as one who knows they are deeply loved, divinely chosen, and purposefully sent. Let each day be a chance to reflect me. And then, on that final day, when you stand before me, I will not ask, how famous were you? But rather, did you love me and love others with all your heart? And if your answer is yes, then everything else will simply be the added reward. My child, the time has come for you to begin looking back on the path you've walked, not with regret, but with gratitude for every turn, every wound, every seemingly misdirected step was, in truth, my hand guiding you in wondrous ways. You cannot count how many times I preserved you from what you thought were good opportunities, but were actually well-disguised traps. Nor could you possibly recall all the nights I comforted you in silence, when no one else knew. But I remember, I never forget the moments you chose to do what was right, even when no one saw, the times you forgave, though your heart ached, the quiet hours you stood your ground when others had walked away. It is in those hidden moments that I laid the bricks to build a foundation that cannot be shaken. And now, my child, as you step into the time I have appointed for you to carry influence and walk in your calling, do not forget where you began. Always remember, you stand here not because you were perfect, but because I have been faithful, not because you got everything right, but because I corrected you with kindness, not because you were stronger than others, but because I held your hand each time you were weak. Everything you now have, from forgiveness, to wisdom, to anointing, to the love you are able to give, has come from the grace I have poured over your life. And since you have received by grace, continue to live by grace. When you have influence over others, use that influence to uplift, not to control. Use your words to heal, not to condemn. Use your understanding to guide, not to exalt yourself. For leaders in my kingdom are not recognized by grandeur, but by their heart to serve, not by power, but by love, not by what they say, but by how they live. I do not need you to become great in the eyes of many. I need you to be faithful in the smallest things, for in my eyes, that is true greatness. You will see. I will lead you to weary souls, not so you can preach to them, but so you can walk with them, not so you can give them advice, but so you can love them. For many people do not need to hear more, they need to feel. They need to see someone who has stumbled, but is not defined by failure. They need to be near someone who has passed through the storm, yet still carries light in their eyes. They need to witness in you a gentleness the world cannot offer. And when you live that way, you are not only transforming individuals, you are stirring the spiritual atmosphere itself, like a new wind from heaven blowing through each life. Do not let pressure force you to awkwardly become something more than who you are. I do not require you to pretend to be strong. I do not need you to always be okay. When you are tired, come to me. When you are unsure, ask me. When you feel lost, be still and listen to me again from the beginning. For I did not choose you for your stability, but for your sincerity, not because you are skilled at hiding, but because you are willing to open your heart, and you will see. The weakness you once thought was a disadvantage will become the very doorway through which my power flows in. I want you to live truthfully, not just with others, but with yourself. Do not use my words as a covering to hide from your pain. Let me touch the places you've never shown anyone. Let my love heal the hidden corners you thought you had forgotten. For only when you are healed from within will your words carry true weight. Only when your heart is no longer silently screaming will you be able to hear the cries of other souls clearly. Then, every word you speak will become a stream of water for barren ground, not because the words are eloquent, but because they flow from a place that is deep, genuine, and cleansed by the Holy Spirit. My child, soon, you will begin to see the things you once longed for start to unfold, but not in the way you imagined. I will not do this to make you successful by the world's standards. I will do it because I need you in the exact place where you have been appointed, so you can reach the right person at the right moment. Every step you take will carry weight. Every action will leave an impact. But never let influence distance you from me. Draw nearer to me when others begin to notice you. Walk in deeper humility when praise comes your way. And smile when you are misunderstood, for you know that the true reward does not come from below, but from me. I will keep you. I will lead you through. I will call you back when you stray, and I will lift you up when you fall. I am the one who called. You and I do not change. My love is not based on emotion. My covenant does not waver with circumstances. My eyes have never left you. My heart has never changed its mind. You belong to me, and in me, nothing you do is ever in vain. Keep walking. My child, you are on the right path, and ahead lies the harvest not only for you, but for the many souls waiting for you to step into the place I appointed for you before the foundation of the world. My child, when you have passed through the seasons of testing, when your faith is no longer a concept, but the true rhythm of your heart, I come to speak to you of the one thing that will keep you standing in the fiercest storms, and also the one thing that will soften your heart when life feels barren. It is my love. Not a vague love, not a distant idea, but a love that is real, alive, powerful, and unshakable. You have heard many times, I love you. But tonight I want to engrave this unchanging truth into your soul, because unless you are rooted in that love, you will be easily swept away by performance, comparison, and external pressures. My love for you did not begin after you did well. It does not increase with your success, nor does it decrease when you stumble. It existed before you ever knew how to love me. I loved you when you resisted. I loved you when you were full of doubt. I loved you in that first moment when you cried in silence, afraid to lift your head, not because you did anything to deserve it, but because my very nature is love, and that love is not a fragile sympathy, is the strength that defeated death, the blood that was poured out on the cross, the victory that makes darkness tremble. And that love, my child, is the eternal inheritance I have deposited within you, so that you may live not just for yourself, but as one who knows they have been wholly and perfectly loved. When you understand this, everything else will shift. You will no longer strive to be accepted because you already are. You will no longer compare yourself to others because my love is not measured by human standards. You will no longer fear failure because my love is great enough to cover every mistake and lead you back. And only when you live from a place of being loved will you truly begin to love others rightly. Not because they deserve it, but because you are giving out what you have already received, not in exchange for recognition, but as the natural response of a soul that has been healed. That very love will be your anchor as you step into a season of influence. When others praise you, that love will remind you, the glory belongs to me. When others abandon you, that love will embrace you and whisper, you are never alone. When you must choose between the easy road and the right one, that love will gently say, choose me, for I never leave you in the middle of the journey. And when you find yourself weary from carrying the burdens of others, that same love will lift you, renew you, and remind you, you do not carry this alone. My love is not something meant only to be felt in moments of worship. It is meant to be lived in every breath. When you wake and feel the heaviness of heart, that love is the reason you can keep going. When bad news reaches you, that love is the fortress that keeps your heart from collapsing. When you feel forgotten in the midst of a crowd, that love reminds you, I see you, I know you, and I am drawing near. Not a single second passes without my eyes on you. Not a single moment do I forget that you are living in the midst of a battle. And for that reason, my love is not a fleeting emotion. It is an everlasting covering. My beloved child, perhaps you've been disappointed by those who once claimed to love you, only to leave you halfway. Perhaps you gave your heart, only to receive coldness in return. Perhaps you built what you believed to be a sacred connection, only to be left with a deep wound. But I am not like people. I do not love and then change my mind. I do not make promises and then forget. I do not begin and then abandon. When I chose you, I already knew there would be moments of weakness, times of failure, days when you would lose your way, but I still chose you. And if I have chosen you, then no one can remove you from my heart. No circumstance can suffocate the love I have for you. No wound can be deeper than the healing I am ready to give. Let this love be the root of all your actions. Let it be the place you return to when you are hurt. Let it be your starting point when you step into something new. Let it be where you stand firm when everything else is shaken. Let it remind you, you do not need to prove anything to me. You only need to be present, to listen, and to walk with me each day. No need to rush. No need to be strong in appearance. Just be faithful. Just be sincere. Just remain in love. When my love has taken deep root in your heart, it is then that I call you to step out from your hidden place, not to display anything, but to fulfill my purpose in you. The covering has been enough. The years I kept you in the shadows, like a seed hidden in the soil, were not to reject you, but to help you take root. I have quietly laid your foundation, quietly corrected you, quietly deepened you, not because I was distant, but because I love you too much to let you emerge too soon. But now, as your roots are strong, your heart tender, and your eyes no longer seek the spotlight of man, now is the time I raise you up and place you in the position I have prepared for you from eternity past. My child, do not fear the light. Do not fear being known. Do not fear influence. For if you keep your heart rooted in my love, the light cannot burn you. It will only make you shine more brilliantly. If I am the one who lifts you up, then no power can pull you down. If I am your source, then you need not fear lack. And if I am the one who sends you, then you do not need the affirmation of people. You will go where I lead. Do what I command, and live fully in the role I have given you, not to prove anything, but to obey, not for fame, but for love, not for acceptance, but because you know deep within, you belong to me. I will open before you doors that no man can shut. I will lead you into places where others may only watch from the outside. But, my child, do not forget, the greater the blessing, the lower your heart must bow. The wider your influence spreads, the more you must seek stillness in my presence. The more honor you receive from the world, the more you must thirst for my presence as if you have received nothing at all. The deeper you walk into my glory, the more you must guard the purity of your spirit, letting no trace of pride inflate your soul. I do not need vessels that are shiny on the outside. I need a heart that knows how to kneel. I do not seek loud acclamations. I seek the quiet whisper that says, Lord, I am but dust. Use me as you will. Ivory, for there will be temptations when you step into public places. Satisfaction, complacency, the admiration of the crowd, all of these are double-edged swords. They can lift you up, but they can also kill what is true within you if you are not watchful. And so, my child, remain in the light of my word. Let me be the final voice. Let my word be louder than the applause. Let my presence be sweeter than every invitation. For only when you live for my eyes will you not die from the words of men. And when you learn to live under my approval alone, no criticism can shake you. No accusation can steal your peace. No distance can wound you too deeply, for I am your fullness. My child, I have called you not only to do great things, but also to live truthfully in the small ones. Not only to teach with words, but to teach with your life. Not only to be an example on the stage, but to remain faithful in the hidden place. Not only to carry a position, but to keep your heart clothed in gentleness and humility. For you will have a choice, to become someone respected by the world while I turn my face away in sorrow, or to be one whom I smile upon and bless. Even if the world does not understand, I want you to choose the better portion, the one Mary chose. When she sat at my feet, instead of being busy with the things others deemed important, my child, you may be able to shake the world, but if you do not move my heart, all of it is meaningless. You may preach before thousands, but if you do not weep in the secret place for love of me, every word is just an empty echo. I do not look for the gifted. I look for the genuine. I do not choose the flawless. I choose the broken, those who dare to let me heal them and walk forward in humility. And you, my child, you are one of those I have chosen. I saw you in the crowd. I called your name when no one knew you. I remembered your sighs in places no one else could hear. And it is for this reason that I entrust you with much, because you were faithful when you had nothing. Now, you are no longer a spiritual child. You are one who has been forged in fire, refined in solitude, and built upon tears. And because of this, you will stand firm when the winds blow hard. You will not be shaken when positions or titles come your way. You will not fall when praised or rejected by people, for your roots go deep into solid rock, into me. You will not be torn between what I have called you to do and what the world expects of you, for you have chosen the better portion, the eternal one. My child, when I have given you an unshakable love, when I have placed you on solid ground and trained you to step into your destined role, Now I want you to understand this final truth. Time is no longer in abundance. The season of delay has ended. The season of quiet preparation has closed. This is the moment for action. The hour for immediate obedience. The very point in time when heaven and earth converge to give birth to something new. I am pushing you away from the dock like a boat that has been restored, fueled, and is now ready to sail. And, my child, I want you not to look back. I remind you, you no longer have the right to return to the old place of safety. You cannot cling to your former comfort zone. You are no longer who you once were, for I have transformed you. Not so you might live the old way in a new form, but so that you may dwell in an entirely different atmosphere of power, of faith, of righteousness, and of action. Every passing second, I am shaking the heavens. Angels are being dispatched. Doors are swinging open. But if you hesitate to, if you keep reasoning in your mind instead of surrendering in your heart, you may miss the appointed time. Remember Lot and his wife. When I rescued them from a city marked for judgment, the command was clear: do not look back. But her heart still lingered, still yearned for the old things. And that very backward glance sealed her future in a pillar of salt. My child, do not let your heart waver between the old and the new. I am calling you forward, not in fear, but in confidence, for I go before you. I stand within the battlefield, and I am the greatest reward awaiting you at the end of the road. You do not walk alone. I have not called you only to abandon you mid-journey. I am the Lord your God going with you, staying with you, and moving with you. Look back on the years that have passed. There were times you thought you had been forgotten, that the promises once spoken had faded, that the word you received was merely a fleeting emotion, but you did not know that I was still working behind the scenes. Every twist, every tear, every moment of silence each was measured, kept, and used to lay the foundation. For I am the master architect. I am never in haste, yet never late. And now, my child, the moment has come. The moment when what once seemed random will begin to take shape. The very things that once confused you will now become the evidence that says, the hand of the Lord has done this. You will see reward coming, but not in the way you expected. I will not only give you provision, but also holy influence. I will give you honor that flows from heaven, not from the praises of people. I will give you authority born of intimacy, not of position. I will give you a voice that carries weight not because you speak loudly, but because you speak at the right time, with the right word, and when you stand before great opportunities, you will no longer say, "Can I really do this?" But you will declare, "I've been prepared for such a time as this." End grace. My child, I have not forgotten the dreams you once wrote down and tucked away. I have not overlooked the prayers you whispered in anguish during the darkest nights, thinking they were lost. I gathered every word, every sigh, every small dream. And now, because you no longer depend on them to feel worthy, I will begin to fulfill them, not so that you may become famous, but that my name may be glorified, not to prove anything, but to affirm that I am faithful. Those dreams will live again, but this time, they will grow in an environment of maturity, not in the soil of selfish desire. They will bear fruit that does not spoil easily, does not fall prematurely, but endure, because it has been rooted deeply in my will, And when that begins to happen, my child, remain in simplicity. Keep returning to the Word, to my presence, to the secret place. Do not let success steal away the hunger you once had. Do not let victories blind your eyes to me. Remember this: everything I give only has meaning if I remain the ultimate destination. Without that, even blessings can become idols. Live as one who always needs me more than anything else. Walk as one who understands that the greatest thing is not the ministry, nor the gifts, but to know me and to be known by me, my beloved child. The road ahead will not be easy, but it will be glorious. There will be opposition, but I will silence their mouths. There will be traps, but I will be the lamp to guide your path. There will be times when you grow weary, but I will uphold you. And above all, there will be seasons when you feel lost. Yet in truth, I am leading you through a shortcut known only to those who dare to trust me, a path that brings you to the destination faster. So take heart, be strong, and do not fear, for I am the one who has spoken, and I am also the one who will fulfill every word I have promised. After all that I have spoken to you, let this be etched upon your heart. This visitation is not a random occurrence, but a sacred appointment, a divine moment I ordained long before you were born. This is not merely a comfort or a temporary encouragement. It is a confirmation from heaven itself that you have been chosen, set apart, prepared, and now sent forth. Every tear you have shed, every step you've taken in the dark, every wound from your past, they are not meaningless. They are the very materials I have used to shape you into a precious vessel for my kingdom. Now that the door has been opened, now that my presence has enveloped you, I call you to step out not in fear, but with steadfast faith. Do not look back. Do not hesitate any longer. Do not question your worth. I have placed my word in your mouth, my spirit within your heart, and my mark upon your forehead. And just as I once sent Abraham, Moses, Jacob, Mary, and Paul, I am now sending you. You are not alone. You are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, by my presence, and by power from on high. Live a life worthy of that noble calling. Walk not by feelings, but by faith. Love without condition. Forgive without delay. Obey without hesitation. And above all, keep yourself rooted in the first love, the love that made you bow your head in the night. Weep in my presence and whisper, Lord, use me. I heard that cry, and today I respond, I will use you. As Levi, my child, when the world shakes, you will stand firm. When darkness thickens, you will shine brightly. When everything is shaken, you will remain a pillar, not because you are strong, but because I am the strength within you. Today, I speak to you. This visitation is real. And now, a new chapter has begun. Rise up, dry your tears, fasten your spiritual armor, and walk forward with courage. For I, the Lord your God, go before you, walk beside you, and dwell within you forever. Thank you for listening to today's message. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so we can continue to receive the living word together, build unshakable faith, and walk in the boundless love of God. Amen.